I've been waiting for this one. Oh! Hey everyone, I'm Styleboy and welcome to my world. Now, music lovers out there, yes you may know something called album eras. Basically, these are things that are like quintessential to an artist's career. Don't act like they're not, because they are. As a fan myself, as a music lover, as pop music is my specialized interest, hashtag just autism things. This is something that purely does excite me, especially as I'm also studying fashion promotion and they often do link together. So, I thought to start maybe like a mini series. Bradley, who also runs a music blog, so I'll put it down below, and I think he's also doing eras as well, so hashtag twinning. We are going to be discussing some of the most iconic ones in my opinion, and even giving some like comments on which ones had the potential but I think could have done better, as well as your favorites. I asked you guys on Instagram, which by the way, if you're not following me on there, what are you doing? I have a popping theme, so go and follow. We're basically just gonna have a conversation about it. So disclaimers, this is my opinion.
That's my opinion!
I'm sorry, that's gonna forever crack me up. This is all my opinion. I'm no music critic. Can you seriously imagine though me as a music critic? I don't know if I would be iconic or not, but we'll move on. These are all just my opinion, so please do not take this as a grave. If you have a different opinion, like if you end up hating one of the eras I mentioned, comment down below and maybe even give me some of your favorite eras down below. Just this is fun. And number 3, subscribe, because if you want this to become a mini series including why eras are shorter, some of my least favorite eras and how they could have been improved, or just generally want to listen to me talk about music and join the music commentary side of YouTube, comment down below. And without further ado, let us begin, baby. Before we start, I thought we might as well define what an album era is. I could not find it on Google, so let me try and explain what it is. So this is just what I visualize it as. An album era is the way a music artist promotes their album. I would say traditionally, the album era starts when the first single of that album comes out to right before the next single comes out, and the promotion and everything like that. However, there have been some things that kind of like change it or switch it up. So for example, if an artist releases like a single midway as just like a summer single, if something happens within their personal life, or if that era is run short because of how poorly promoted. There's like so many different reasons. I just wanted to kind of say that. So in case you need like a definition, there it is. But I feel like with that, we shall begin with some of the most iconic eras. These are the eras, in my opinion, that literally are doing the damn thing. And the first era I'm going to discuss is Reputation. Now, Reputation is that bitch. Obviously, if you know the backstory behind Reputation, then you know why the aesthetic and everything is there. But if you don't know, let me start. Taylor Swift, 2016. Freaking thriving in life, you know, 1989, still doing freaking successful. And then the whole Kim Ye drama happened. I'm not gonna get into it because that's not what this video is about. And everyone hated her and started calling her a snake. So what she did is that she went on social media and she deleted every single one of the posts and just came out with a snake video coming on and saying that look what you made me do was coming out. And that began the Reputation era. Firstly, that's so clever to do a blackout. She actually transformed herself from almost this like good girl pop into like the bad girl that everyone saw her as. And literally, even with the music video of Look What You Made Me Do, that is one of the best things, especially when she's talking to her old eras.
You guys! Stop making that surprise face. It's so annoying. Yeah, you can't possibly be that surprised all the time.
I would very much like to be excluded from this narrative.
Do you know how iconic that is? I feel like with Reputation, she kind of did the damn thing. And I'll tell you why, in my opinion. Firstly, because of how cohesive the era was. Every single little thing made sense. The aesthetic and the era styling. Now, I feel like with every music video, they did really well at keeping it very dark. So if you've noticed, there's mainly a dark color palette. Even in Delicate, which is the most lightest, airiest song because it's a track 5, which means it's the most vulnerable song. Just Swiftie things. And I think it's super cohesive even with the album photo shoot, even with the tour film that got posted, like the trailer, like these are the things that mainly an audience would see, mainly a wider audience would see. So to them, it's like, oh, this is Taylor's dark era, it's so tough. However, as a Swiftie, we also know this album is a love album, and I feel like that's very much shown within the little elements that I've done. Firstly, because of the promotional singles. Now, promotional singles are basically released before the album, but no music video, and it's just the song out, just to give you a taster. I thought it was genius because we got Gorgeous, and Gorgeous is literally a 180, and I love it. Like, I love it because it's so like bubblegummy, like and I love the lyrics because, bitch, I relate to them so much. And then it was also a clever choice to add Call It What You Want, especially because the two main singles were Look What You Made Me Do and Ready For It, which were both this almost like I'm getting my own back, and these two singles were almost like, well, I love someone, and it's like, Rap is actually also a love album. It's just so beautiful because once you listen to it and you know that is, you definitely hear that. And even choosing Gallica as the last single, in my opinion, was so clever because A, it was sonically different compared to the rest of the singles, and B, also that like, it is that side of Taylor that I think as the general public, everyone loves, which is this raw vulnerability. And I feel like to have that communicated is really beautiful. I love it. And bitch, you know I went to that tour.
Stadium tour.
And that tour was everything. And again, it was made for the fans. I love that it's made so much for the fans. And I love with Taylor and her eras how much they are fan orientated. So particularly within this era, she was really popular on Tumblr. She did secret sessions, which used to be Taylor's like signature thingy. And with secret sessions, what basically they are is that fans she'll find online and then they'll be able to listen to the album before everyone else. And that basically is really clever promotion because they can't say what the album sounds like, they can't say anything like that. They can only say that like, this is good, this song gives this kind of vibe, but I listen to it once and also get to meet Taylor. Dreams. And also, I think because the tour for a lot of Swifties ended up feeling like a final tour because there was so many old songs in there. Like I think there was like Style, Love Story, even Shoulda Said No, bitch, and We Are Never Ever Get Back Together, which usually artists do during tour, but it felt like it was so incorporated in frequently that it just felt really cool. It was just like, oh my god, the evolution of my queen. But honestly, I love it. I love this era. I seriously do. I just think it was so clever, and I love Bad Girl Taylor. It just did so well, and I feel like this is one of the best comeback albums by far. Like, I love it and deserved a Grammy. My only improvement, why wasn't I Did Something Bad a single?
And I make you look.
I love Reputation, and that should have been a single. I would have said maybe single 2 and then make Ready For It single 3. Right? Apart from that, I freaking love this era so much. And girl, the cultural impact it's had. I kind of realized that eras that I end up loving are comeback eras, especially from different situations. They just work so well. So the next 2 eras I'm going to be talking about are comeback eras. And the next one I'm talking about is Sweet Up by Miss Ariana Grande. Firstly, we have the vinyl. Look at her shine. Look at her shine, bitch. If you do know, especially if you watched my Ariana Grande ranking albums, this is not my favorite Ari album. Actually, also question, because Positions has come out, do you want me to update that? Comment down below. This is my favorite Ariana Grande era. Like, this era did the damn thing, okay? It was just flawless. For this comeback, we were coming back from the Manchester bombing that happened during her concert, which, girl, that's trauma. Like, full stop. And she came back and did One Love Manchester, which was already incredible. But we were just kind of like, okay, so what's coming next? Like, I think many people were expecting like a very sad album, but it ended up being the opposite. It ended up being a really positive, fun era. And honestly, I fucking love it so much. Firstly, the color scheme. I love me some neutrals. Even with that, every music video somehow had that color scheme, whether it was like light sands and beiges and then like Hands. I don't even know, because the first music video was Notice of the Cry, which was a video, bitch. Oh my god, who directed Notice of the Cry? Dave Meyers. Mr. Dave Meyers, bitch, you knew what you were doing, because he directed Notice of the Cry, The Light Is Coming, and God Is a Woman, and God Is a Woman is my favorite music video. Notice of the Cry, that music video shocked us all. Inception was quaking. But honestly, because it was just one of these uplifting messages that I feel like, especially in 2018, especially with her, we were all kind of wanting. And so to finally have it was just like, oh, like surprise, but like in a good way. And it was almost this like 90s R&B pop sound, which was the best. And honestly, it was just fun, energetic, and lively, and it was so great. Then The Light Is Coming came as a promotional single. No. And then the music video came, which was equally as confusing. To anyone who felt that, you are not alone. The next one is God Is a Woman. God Is a Woman shook the world. Oh my god. I remember this was like #1 trending on YouTube for days because everyone was so shook over this music video. I was in love with it. So much so that I was like, I'm gonna design a collection inspired by God Is a Woman. I was so inspired because it was just such an incredibly visual video, and there were so many different art references and so many little things. I love it. Firstly, the bath scene at the beginning when she's in that like lush inspired bath bomb. And one of my favorite scenes is when Madonna does the Pulp Fiction quote.
I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my sisters. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon you.
It's just so amazing and so just like, oh, and I think really also just promote the hell out of Sweetener, because this came out quite closely before Sweetener came out, and I feel like that's the single that got everyone hyped about it. And I feel like from this era, it was this era like beauty around it, if that makes sense. The last single was Breathing, and I feel like Breathing was a fan favorite from the beginning, so obviously having a fan favorite song as a single is a genius thing. And I think also like everyone kept hyped it up. I love Breathing so much, but the live performance is so much more better. The music video is cute, she's in the clouds, it's very dreamy, and I feel like this era represents that dreamy state. And I feel like what I really like is that I think the album goes with the era, like aesthetic of the era, and I feel like because of that it becomes this very much cohesive piece. And I feel like for a fan or for someone who loves that, it's really exciting and really beautiful to witness and to watch. And honestly, I really enjoy it so much, and I think this era is one of Ari's best. This era being cut short, I completely understand, because it's a lot of the stuff to do with her personal life, and then which led to Thank You Next, which was another iconic album. And what I love about, I think, this with the tour especially, and the tour video coming out, what I love is that I think combining both together, Sweetener and Thank You Next, kind of confirmed that it was two sides of a coin. One is going through the emotions and the feelings, and the other side is healed and is better. I just love it so much. Oh my god! I wish Every Time was the promotional single, or Good Night and Go was a promotional single, because I feel like Go had like the opportunity to have like a promotional single involved, and I feel like that would have really bumped up the album instead of The Light Is Coming. So yeah, I just love Sweetener so much. Oh, as an era, it just it did the damn thing. And I think also the naming it Sweetener makes sense with the aesthetic of it. I just love it so much. So the last comeback era, before we get into the other side of it, is Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia. I have to include her into it. Okay, so from Dua Lipa, it was that meme, you know, the one where she's like dancing like this. She literally came back with the best pop album of 2020. Did I lie? Did I lie?
Did I fucking lie?
I am a comedic genius. But like seriously, that era is, I mean, it's still going on now, but it's truly one of the best eras ever. Because I think this was like the first time, I think in a while, that we saw like an era really be an era, because I think especially previously, especially during like 2019, 2018, where I think it wasn't really viewed the same, as in like the cohesiveness and everything kind of was just like this era just kind of went bam bitch, I am here. First single, Don't Start Now, became one of my favorite songs of 2019. It's just such a good song. It's flawless and it's ageless and a perfect first single. Promotional single was Future Nostalgia, which was kind of cute, kind of fun. I do like it. I think in the album I prefer it over as a promotional single. Then My Fave came out. My Fave came out and completely changed my world. On the same day that Physical came out was the same day as Miss Americana by Taylor Swift. So I was really just being fed. Just the incorporation of the violins in the background, my heart is shook. But then when the music video came out, I also just died with happiness. So much so that I made a Dua Lipa transformation video. But honestly, that music video just blew my mind because it was something that was just so incredible. And she blew everyone else's mind. The colors, the vibe, it fit so perfectly. And also what I liked is that it went with the sound without being like too on the nose. It wasn't like an 80s workout class. Although she did also do that for promotion, which I thought was so clever. But anyway, it was just so fun and energetic and just this like liveliness, and it's so good. Oh my god, I'm still not over it. I'm still not over it. And I think this also was really good because it managed to grip people back in, especially after Don't Start Now. The thing about Don't Start Now is that it really was that bitch. Like, it blew our minds. And what was good about releasing Future Nostalgia as a promotional single was that, yes, some people did notice it, but Don't Start Now still had its like peak. And then when Don't Start Now was dying down, Physical came around and kind of overtook that. I just think it did so well, and it got people truly excited for the era. Like, people were like, oh my god, I'm in it. Like, when is this album coming out? Then Break My Heart came out, which was such a fun song. And I feel like the music video, again, another iconic music video, especially with the styling. Like, I feel like this is another era where like I can actually mention clothing in this, so my fashion promotional heart is just screaming with joy. But the fashion from this era is truly incredible. Even within the music videos, I just think it was so aesthetically pleasing because it's very much referencing that like clueless 90s kind of appeal. Honestly, it's adorable, and I feel like particularly within the time period of 2020, that kind of aesthetic and that nostalgia started to rise up because of the corona. And what was really good about this era is despite A, the pandemic, and B, people leaking out the album, everyone still loved it. Everyone was still like, this is incredible. This was the best thing I've ever listened to. My reaction kind of proved why. What the? What? It was just one of the most mind-blowing pieces of information ever, because I think particularly when you listen to her first album, you kind of think she's gonna go in one way and do which when I want international fame, bitch. She took that all away and then released this era, and it's just so iconic. And the era, even after the albums come out, this is a problem with a lot of modern eras, and I'm so glad that she is still doing it, is promotion after. You just have to promote your album after it's come out because it's so good. So she's done this with Hallucinate. The music video is iconic. Because her tour was cancelled or been postponed, I think it's next year, she then did a really clever concept in my opinion, which was Studio 2054, which I went to. It was a beautiful time, but what was really clever about it is that you could watch it for like a really cheap price, especially if you didn't have access to go to a concert, because concerts were a lot of money to go to. So to kind of like go as a fan and be able to watch this live stream of her performing to an audience, it's just incredible because it has this accessibility, because it's only like £5 to do it, and that's like pretty good. B, it was a really fun time. Also, like, the era was continued and she never stopped. And the good thing about it is that it's still going, and every single thing that she's doing is just working. The Levitating music video, apart from You Know Who, great music video. The only thing about this era which really just like was the remix album. Everyone just mentally forgot it, and we love that for her. I just think this era has done so well, and I'm so excited for her and this next era and this next vibe and everything, because as a fan, it makes me super excited and makes me look forward to what she will produce next and what kind of sound I hope she does. I'm so excited. I feel like with what I'm doing that's present, we should do another present era. So one that we're in. And I think the next one is Doja Cat, Planet Her. I know that we're in it, but I also can't help but love it. And that's because Doja Cat is a queen at promotion. She's so good. Firstly, do you know the amount of times she's performed Say So in different ways? I think with Doja, I think with this era in particular, it's so cohesive and I love it. And I love that it's called Planet Her, the album, and each music video is a different interpretation of what Planet Her is. Kiss Me More, I love Kiss Me More. And then Need to Know with the All the Blue thing, which has now become a TikTok trend. But to be honest, half of Doja Cat songs are TikTok trends. So like, are we mad? No. And then the next one is You're Right, being this Grecian goddess theme. Bitch, I love a bit of Greek mythology. So honestly, that theme is just one of my favorites and it's so beautiful. And honestly, I just think with this era, what I love about it is that it represents Doja's versatility. The single choices represents her versatility, like going from like bubblegum pop to a hip hop song to then like a kind of like R&B pop song. Genius. I just love the aesthetic of this era because I feel like it's this like planets and the galaxies and whatever, but done new, and it's not boring because especially if you're around during like the 2012, everything had to be galaxy themed and it kind of gets boring, right? But what I love about it is that it's still very, very new, and every music video and everything about it is just so brand new, and I love that. And also what I love is that she's doing these performances on Viva where she's performing the songs, and even that has a new atmosphere, has a new vibe because it's like in a desert, which is another interpretation of a planet. I guess in a way it's almost these like pop culture references to the idea of a planet or Planet Her. The second one is a reference to the fifth element, in my opinion, and then the third one obviously is like Greek goddess, which obviously isn't a brand new concept, but obviously Greek mythology. But I think because of that, it makes it so exciting. I love that so much, which makes me even more excited and hoping she's going to release another single, and I hope the next single is even more exciting and has even more of a cooler concept. My prediction of what I hope the next single would be, I actually really want it to be Ain't Shit. I think Ain't Shit would be the coolest single choice next. I'm not gonna key your car, I'll call your fucking mom. You should've paid my rent. Go get a fucking job. Oh, it's either that or Woman that I would want to be the next single. I think with Doja, again, what she's really good at is doing this versatility. And I feel like to keep that versatility up, I feel like what would be really good is to have Ain't Shit or Woman because they both sound different from the rest of the singles. I'm just gonna say for Doja, please continue promoting because her and TikTok are like this. Like they are like a perfect match. And honestly, yes, because every single time a new Doja song is a trend, even Need to Know is now become a trend again. So honestly, if she does that, like a single choice with one of those songs, she's going to blow up. But honestly, I think she's staying in the game, and I think everyone should give a round of applause to Doja Cat. Actually, talking about like an artist holding everyone to their neck, being like, I am going to feed you everything. That was the same in 2010 for Miss Katy Perry with During Teenage Dream. Teenage Dream? I basically grew up with that album without me even realizing I did, because when I listened to the album like last year in kind of preparation for Smile, I kind of realized, wow, I already know half this album because of the music video. But honestly, the way it was done was so good because I think not only did it have that sense of her personality in that. Now this is something I love about Katy Perry because Katy Perry is very bubbly and cheeky, and I feel like to have that personality in there is just genius. Like California Girls and Last Friday Night being that fun style. But also within this era, what I love is that she was super experimental with the visuals. Though it may not have been the most cohesive, I think it was just so interesting to watch because it was always something completely different. We can literally go from California Girls, from this like bubblegum sweets and candy and over the topness, to literally Teenage Dream being this kind of like reminiscent, being a teenager and like wanting to live your life like the main character. Katy Perry was doing it before you did. Also, that's probably one of my favorite Katy Perry songs. I can't even deny, I love that song so much. So literally Firework ended up being really cool, especially in 2010. Now I'm realizing there was a fucking gay kiss in there. So Katy Perry said, I'm an ally bitch, and then literally going to like Wide Awake being a very like serious one, talking about her divorce and like about the pressures of being in the media and like all of this stuff. Like, do you get it? Like, she's just so versatile. Again, like Doja, like the reason why I think artists do so well is because of the versatility. And then particularly within this era, I think every single music video was versatile in one way or another. And that's what made it really exciting. And I think in that sense, I really love it. Because you never knew what was coming from K for Teenage Dream. It's so good! And then like obviously E.T. giving you extra tease. I just really love it. My personal favorite from the album is Hummingbird Heartbeat because that is incredible, or Peacock. Appreciate that album because Miss Katy Perry did the damn thing and more. And I think for the last era that I'm going to talk about that's like overly good before we start another section, which is album eras I want to talk about, I can't help but love this era. The cohesiveness in me just, which is Olivia Rodrigo's Sour. Now this album I didn't really like, to be honest, like unpopular opinion. Jealousy needs to be a single. Olivia, that would have been such a sick music video. Honestly, this era kind of the damn thing because again, promotion. Firstly, what I really loved about this was that Driver's License was a viral song, but it wasn't just her career. We know Olivia for more than just Driver's License, and for an artist to do that is incredible because it's just like you really said like we're gonna do more than that, and her team just knew exactly what to do with Deja Vu next. Flipping it at 180 and be like, I can give you versatility. I love Deja Vu. Again, this nostalgic era. Again, if you know about this era, there's a lot of different, not only pop culture, but different pop references. I think 1 step forward and 3 steps back. She gives credit to Taylor Swift and Jack Antonoff for New Year's Day and Reputation. And then I think for Good For You, it's inspired by Paramore, Misery Business, an iconic song.
Maybe I'm too emotional, and maybe you never get it.
But honestly, I really like it. I like the different references and how you can link them to different things because she's also 18. But I guess in the other sense, because when you're at that age, or not even, I think even now, we become very easily influenced by different things in our lives and different things that we take in. And it's just these tiny little references that you realize and you go, ah, wait, that's kind of clever. And the Sour Patch involvement because the album's called Sour. Girl just knew exactly what she was doing. And I have to give her a round of applause for that. The Sour Prom. I love when artists do this. It's like virtual concert, and the Sour Prom was amazing. I loved the aesthetic. I loved everything about it because it made sense with her age. And again, this like school aesthetic. Like everyone knows that album is made for high schoolers and teenagers because you can just feel everything she's feeling. I just think it's so well done and I love it. I think one of the singles should be a ballad. It's starting to get into the rock side, and unless we're getting a rock album, I think one of the ballads should be a single. So I was gonna say Favorite Crime should be a single, and I think could be a really beautifully poetic music video, especially because Driver's License did so well. Or Jealousy needs to be a music video because that would be an amazing music video. But apart from that, I love the era. It's just so good. Oh my god. For the next section, I'm gonna talk about 3 eras that I love but could be better. So I know with a lot of the eras that I was mentioning in the first section, I was just talking about, oh my god, like they're great, and then like even better if. This is more like, okay, we can add something more. We can build upon this era and make it even better. So let us discuss with the first era, which honestly, I've been listening to this album and I've been freaking loving it again, which is Miss Taylor Swift's Lover. Firstly, I have the vinyl right here and I freaking love it. But also that I've been listening to her recently and I have been loving it. Y'all really stepped on Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince.
And I don't want you to, I don't really wanna, 'cause nobody's gonna win. You should come home.
I feel like with Lover, half of it I love and half of it I hate. So let me explain. Not the album, but the era. So what I love about it is actually the album aesthetic. The pastels. Bitch, I'm the pastel king. Look at this photography. I think she actually got like a smaller artist to work with her. But what I love about this era is the photo shoot and the aesthetic and the way that it was promoted. Particularly if you watch the Archer lyric video. It's so well done. Because in my opinion, not the music music video. So remember, we're pushing away the singles to the side for the moment, focusing on the album, the aesthetic for the album. I honestly thought it was really beautiful and really fun, and I love it. Again, like if you look at the photography for the era, it's really well done because it doesn't feel kid-like. There is that sense of like beauty and like fun, obviously, and pastels, and I love it because I think, especially for this era, going straight from rap, she wanted to kind of show the opposite side of like, this is my love story and this is love, and love is beautiful. Love is messy, but love is amazing. And honestly, even for the album, I think it's really well done, because albums that talk about love can often be very challenging because you might just want to write love songs when actually there's more complexity than that. And I feel like Taylor did a really good job because she wrote fights and forgiveness and insecurities and stuff like that. There's a lot to it. And Ari did the same with Positions. Like, I think they both did a really, really good job at both. I just think everyone misunderstood Lover, and I'll explain why. The single choices. I cannot say how much the single choices were really let down this era. The reason why I think the single choices really let down this era, because it represents nothing from this album. Honestly, nothing sounds like Me, apart from You Need to Calm Down. I actually love Me. I think it's amazing and so fun, and I get why she did it, because firstly, she's proud of the single. Like, again, if you watched Miss Americana, you saw that scene where she was like freaking fangirling and dying while writing it with Brendan Urie.
I storm out and I'm like,
This week cow!
But I think then having that and then You Need to Calm Down were both very, like, to many people, like kids bop, bubble gum, you're my honey bum sugar plums. It was just so bubblegum pop, and I feel like in 2019 it was just no one enjoyed that kind of pop anymore, which is sad because I still love that pop. Now it feels like in 2021 we're almost asking for it back, but anyway, it just felt like it became hyperbole of just pastels and everything, and I get that. I think especially with You Need to Calm Down, I still why many people were just a bit like, I feel like having a Lover, many people write that in Love again because this was what Taylor strung at, is her lyrics and her love songs and stuff like that. But I feel like that pastel-y, girly aesthetic got thrown away so quickly because of The Man. Like, I feel like The Man being a single and the way it was done was just really serious. And like, while I think it's a great single, and while I think, yes, the music video has so many points about it, I think it should have still had that pastel-y lightness to it. It felt very tonally serious. Having it as the fourth single was a fan favorite. And fun fact, she was actually going to film a video for Cruel Summer, but then lockdown happened and then she wrote Folklore instead, and then boom, we hit the Folklore era. So Lover is also a short era. But honestly, if I had to say what could be better with this era, I just wish the single choices were better. Many fans have different opinions of what could be. Let me give you my opinions. I think the first single should have been I Think He Knows, because it's still that poppy bubblegum sound, but it's fun because it's a sex song and he's like, ooh, I'm feeling you, bitch. And I feel like would have been such a cool summer song. I feel like really well done. The second single should have been Cruel Summer. Again, released in the summer, because this album was actually released in summer and the promo was like spring to summer, because I feel like everyone would have really been like, oh my god, this is different. As a Swiftie, it's not different because you've listened to Getaway Car, but I feel like for the outside audience, this would have been a completely different turn of events. Single number 3 should be kept with Lover, because I feel like Lover was generally a good single. With the promotional single being The Archer, still a great choice, freaking love it. And then I feel like because of the Miss Americana documentary, which I loved and I feel like made this album way more deeper, then Miss Americana and The Heartbreak Prince should have come out, or Only the Young should have been released into this album. I do love Lover, but I just think this era could have been like bomb era. From, I feel like, weird single choices to just way too many single choices. The second era I'm going to be talking about is Max's Color Vision. I love this era. This era's color scheme and everything, I love it. I love it so much. I picked some of my like favorite music videos to show because it's so good. And I feel like as an era, it's so well done, especially because his popular song was Lights Down Low, and then kind of just coming back with this very brightly colored era because it's called Color Vision, which then makes sense because it links to the album and the aesthetic, and everything was so cohesive. I think also releasing Blueberry Eyes as a single with Suga from BTS. Even the music video where he's rapping in Korean with his wife, blown away. But honestly, I love it because I think as an album, it's just so fun and so good. My only criticism of the album, there's way too many collabs, bitch, cut down. But my other favorite song from the album is Where Am I At, which I didn't even realize was an actual proper single, and my heart was broken. I was listening on the train on the way back from Edinburgh, tears. And again, I love this like color block era, but my problem is there were way too many singles released, as in this era just died because the promotion was way too long. I think it ended up being like over a year. Why? Because I remember Love Me Less came out and I was like, okay, I'm excited, like I think we might be getting an album. I think it was like Checklist, then it was a massive break, and then it was Where Am I At, which was like, oh my god, we're actually getting an album. And then it was like 5 different singles straight after each other. There were 7 singles, and the problem is that these singles, none of them were promotional. They kind of ruined the album because the singles were already there. Little Mix does this as well, and just, when artists release too many promotional, too many actual singles to the point where you listen to the album and you know half of it already, so you're just like, well, what was the point? And then he released another version of Love Me Less, so it ended up becoming 8 singles, and they were just really poorly spread out. My thing is just cut down your single choices. A good amount is like 3 to 4, I would say. And in the last era, I have to mention, because I freaking love her to death, which is Victoria Monet and Jaguar. I love Jaguar to death. I think it's such a beautiful album. This one is probably the same thing I have with all these 3 eras I'm talking about, which the cohesiveness of this album is incredible. I love it to death. The best way to describe it. Even listening to the album, I visualize it, and because I visualize this era, it makes it even more incredible. I visualize like a rich jungle, and that kind of rich full of wildlife and panthers and lions and tigers and like pride in being black. Very celebratory way. I feel like because also with the kind of sound that it is, it's very much referencing like soul music and disco, which originally came from black people, and Victoria Monet is a black artist. So it's kind of this almost like pride in being black, which we stand. Even like the music videos and everything. Oh, especially the Jaguar performance.
Let's give one. Just like we're supersonic.
Oh my god, it's just so amazing. I wish this got more hype. That's literally it. I just wish this era got more hype. Firstly, she got a collab with Kalani. I love Kalani, the queen of R&B. It should have been for Go There With You. I think Go There With You would have been such a cool single than Touch Me. Although we love the sapphic referencing. I know this is meant to be part of a 3-piece album. Like this is one part of a bigger piece, which I love. Everyone loved Ass Like That, and then everyone loved, I think, Moment, especially the performance of Moment. Then Dive was a promotional single, and then Jaguar was a single. Experience was also a single. Oh my god, wait, she actually released really good choices. I wish it would just Go There With You instead of Touch Me. Honestly, I can't complain. This era is so good. I just love her. I just really wanted to mention it because y'all are sleeping on her, and y'all need to give her the hype that she deserves, okay? So I feel like this video is like really long already. I thought Big Brain Moves to actually make a whole entire video reacting and talking about your favorite eras. Haha. To those who aren't on Instagram, don't worry, it's coming up soon. And to those who want to add an era in, comment down below, because believe me, this could be some fun video and we could just be discussing and having a chill time. So you have that to be excited for. Honestly, I hope you did enjoy this video. I'll see you guys next week with a reaction video of a queer icon. That's all I'm gonna say. Bye guys.